Curious Kid Podcast. For those of you that are longtime listeners, you probably know that my favorite episodes to research and record are what I like to call process episodes. In these episodes, we learn about a process to find out how something works. For example, we've done episodes on what happens after you flush the toilet or after the garbage truck comes to collect your garbage. Well, we've got another super interesting process to learn about today. So let's get curious.
Quadruple mailbag!
Quadruple mailbag! Hello, Jacob and Olivia. This is Scout at the age of 9 and Cash at the age of 7. We live on Phillip Island, Victoria, Australia. We would like you to get curious about vacuums, walkie-talkies, and plastic. We love listening to you in the car, going on adventures like going to the beach, going to see waterfalls, and going to nearby towns and small car trips, like going to childcare, shopping, and going to the park. We don't mind if you don't get to these because you have a lot of listener suggestions to get to. My favorite episodes were probably the candy one and the teeth one, but I liked them all. Cash's favorite episode was the Megalodon one. We will always stay curious with you. Thanks! Hi, Jacob and Olivia. My name is Florence. My son Ellis, who is 7 years old, loves your podcast. We live in Vancouver, in beautiful British Columbia, Canada. Ellis and I listen to your podcast on our way to school and from school. His favorite episodes were Curious About Sleep and Curious About Scorpions. Ellis is curious about guinea pigs, vacuums, and crows. Why are guinea pigs called guinea pigs? What do their different sounds mean? How do vacuums work? When and where were they invented? Do crows really remember faces and hold grudges? Thank you for making such a wonderful podcast. Hi, my name is Orion and I love listening to Curious Kid Podcast. I listen to it on the way to school and nighttime. My favorite episode is the one about candy and the video game episode. I'm curious about vacuum cleaners. How do they get all the mess up? Orion is 5 and from Ohio. Thank you so much for your podcast. He talks about things he learns about in everyday conversation. Hi, Olivia. I'm Parker from Arizona and I'm 5 years old. We listen to your podcast in the car and in bed when I'm sick. It helps me relax and feel better. My favorite episode is the one about honey. I'm curious about vacuums, olive oil, and babies. Alex is curious about everything because he's a baby. We love you. Parker and Alex, 8 months old.
Those are unbelievable messages from around the world. We are so excited to get curious about vacuum cleaners for Scout, Cash, Ellis, Orion, Parker, and Alex. Let's get the learning started.
Vacuums are an electronic device that you can find in nearly every single house. 98% of homes in the United States have at least one vacuum, with 43% of homes having more than one. Also, more than 40 million vacuums are purchased in the United States every year. The worldwide vacuum cleaner market size was over $44 billion last year. So vacuums are big business and are as popular as ever. Olivia, what's the question of the week?
The question of the week is, what percentage of people say that they listen to music while vacuuming?
That's an interesting question. I enjoy listening to music when I'm cleaning, but I'm not sure if that's something lots of other people do or not. We will find out soon enough. Let's start our learning by going back in time, 123 years to be exact, to see how the vacuum was first invented.
There was an engineer that lived in London by the name of Hubert Cecil Booth. That's a pretty solid old-timey name. Well, he helped design some complicated things, like the Ferris wheel and suspension bridges. In 1901, he saw a demonstration that inspired him to get into carpet cleaning. The demonstration he saw was a cleaning device that worked by blowing air out of a machine to collect dust in a bag outside of the machine. That's kind of like a reverse vacuum. Mr. Booth thought it would work better if the machine sucked dirt in through a filter instead of blowing air out. The inventor of the first machine told Hubert Cecil Booth that his idea would never work, and that was a challenge that Mr. Booth was more than happy to take on.
Mr. Booth tested his new machine until it was just right, and then he formed the British Vacuum Cleaner Company. Those first vacuums were much bigger and heavier than the ones you are likely to see today, and only the wealthiest homes in London could afford one.
Those vacuums were so massive that they needed to be moved from house to house using a horse-drawn buggy. The horse would stop in front of a house. Then long hoses needed to be fed through the windows before the motor was started and the vacuum would work. This was obviously a very tedious process.
People were fascinated by the vacuum, and they had a great strategy to advertise how well it worked. The outside of the vacuum machine had a glass window where you could clearly see the dust and dirt collect as the vacuum was working. And since the vacuum stayed on the street with the horse, while only the hoses went into the home, people passing by on the street were able to see the vacuum and how well it worked.
Thankfully, it didn't take too long for vacuums to get smaller, cheaper, and easier to move. More practical vacuums started to appear in 1915, thanks to companies like Hoover and Electrolux.
An American inventor had an idea for a vacuum cleaner in the same shape as a broomstick, with a cloth filter and a bag on the handle to collect dust. He sold his idea to William Hoover, who would go on to create the upright vacuum, which quickly became the most popular vacuum cleaner around.
Before too long, people stopped using brushes and dustpans to clean their houses and moved on to the more convenient vacuum cleaner for their cleaning needs.
These days, upright vacuums are still the most popular vacuum cleaners, but there are lots of other options too. For example, there are handheld vacuums that are good for cleaning hard-to-reach areas, and are definitely convenient for cleaning a car.
And there are super cool robotic vacuums too. These vacuums can be programmed to clean when you want, and they are able to move around the cleaning area, detect dirt, and clean it up without any help from a human.
Even though there are different types of vacuums, they work in a similar way. For the purposes of this episode, let's learn how the most popular vacuum, an upright vacuum, works.
The physics behind a vacuum is similar to the physics of drinking juice from a straw. When you suck on the end of a straw, the air that was in the straw gets replaced with the juice. In physics, we know that matter likes to occupy space. In this example, the matter is the juice. Before sucking on the straw, there is juice in the cup, but none in your mouth. When you suck on the straw, the juice wants to occupy the area where there is more space for it, which would be the mouth.
It's the same with balloons. If you blow a balloon up, filling it with air, what happens if you let go without tying a knot? The air that was in the balloon will rush out because there is more space for the air to occupy outside the balloon. Another way of saying that is that there is less air pressure outside the balloon, so that's where the air wants to go.
Now, let's think about the vacuum cleaner. The body of the vacuum has a motor, and it does the same thing your mouth does when you are using a straw. The motor is attached to a fan, and when the fan spins, it forces air into the vacuum.
As air enters the vacuum, the air pressure increases in front of the fan and decreases behind the fan. The reason the air outside the vacuum rushes into the vacuum is because the air pressure inside the vacuum is lower than the air pressure outside. This is just like our balloon example, where air left the balloon because the air pressure outside the balloon is lower, and air wants to move from high pressure to low pressure.
The suction caused by the vacuum is strong enough to pick up air, but also dust and debris. Some vacuums also have rotating brushes in the entry port, which help pick up even more dirt and dust.
As the air and dirt go from the intake port, where they enter the vacuum, and travel towards the exhaust port, which leads back out of the vacuum, it passes through the vacuum cleaner bag. The bags are made of a material that is porous, which means that there are teeny tiny holes in the bag. The holes are big enough for air to get through, but they are too small for dirt to get through, so the dirt gets trapped in the bag.
Then, the air that escapes out the other side of the vacuum bag travels to the exhaust port where it flows back outside. So basically, air and dirt enter, but only the air escapes. Once the bag is full of dirt and dust, it can be emptied into a garbage can.
Experts say that we should vacuum our homes once or twice a week.
But many people do it less often than that. The most common frequency people reported was vacuuming once every 2 weeks. Of course, there are lots of things that might change how often you should vacuum. If you have hardwood floors, they can be vacuumed less often. If you have a cat or a dog, you may want to vacuum more often.
All right, folks. Now that we know the history of vacuums and how they work, it's time to get a visit from a little fella who is going to wow us with 5 unbelievable facts you need to know about vacuum cleaners. Presenting, all the way from his bedroom, which is about 30 feet from where we are recording this episode, here is Noah.
Fact number 1, and I'm about to confuse you. Vacuums aren't vacuums. It's a bad name. It should be called the not quite a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum is a space with nothing in it, including no air. A total vacuum doesn't exist because it's not possible to completely remove all air particles from a place. Fact number 2, and this fact is a hairy fact for sure. The earliest vacuums were also used as hair dryers. Lots of people who are lucky enough to own vacuums about 100 years ago would attach extensions to their vacuum and take an exhaust. Using the vacuum to dry their hair, it wasn't until the 1950s that modern-day hair dryers became popular. Fact number 3, and this one is all about money. Only 30% of families owned a vacuum in 1930. That's because vacuums were super expensive. If you wanted a vacuum back then, you would have to pay about $80, which would be over $1,300 today. No wonder why many people stuck with brooms and dustpans until vacuums became cheaper. Fact number 4. And this one might turn everything you know about vacuums upside down. Experts say that people should regularly vacuum their ceilings. It's because ceilings can get cobwebs, dust, and other debris. You should pop a soft brush attachment on your vacuum so you don't damage the ceiling. Even though vacuuming the ceiling is recommended, 88% of people that were asked said they don't do it. Fact number 5, and this one is crazy. The record for the largest gathering of people using vacuums at the same time is 292 people, and that record was set in Tokyo, Japan back in 2016. Can you imagine how loud 292 vacuum cleaners being used together would be? I would definitely prefer listening to music than listening to all of those vacuums.
Thanks, Noah. That's a great segue into answering our question of the week. What percentage of people say that they listen to music while vacuuming?
36% of all the people surveyed say they listen to music while they vacuum. The highest percentages were for people surveyed from Colombia and Mexico. 67% of Colombian people and 66% of Mexican people that were asked said they listen to music while they vacuum. Also, younger people are more likely to listen to music while they vacuum. 51% of 18 to 30-year-olds say they enjoy music while they vacuum, compared to only 19% of people over 50.
Whether you listen to music while you vacuum or not, we are fortunate to have the vacuum cleaner because cleaning our houses before the vacuum cleaner was so much more difficult. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode.
Thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast, number 265, on vacuum cleaners.
Great job, Olivia, and great job, Scout, Cash, Ellis, Orion, Parker, and Alex for the episode topic suggestion that definitely didn't suck. Get it? Vacuum cleaners? Anyway, before we get going for the week, we have someone special to thank.
We want to thank Lauren for the 5-star review.
It says, "Hello, my name is Lauren from West Long Branch, New Jersey, and this is the best podcast ever."
We've been getting lots of reviews recently, and we've read every single one of them. Thank you for taking a few minutes to show some love to the podcast.
Join us next week when we will get curious about spies for listeners in Sydney, Australia, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. As always, Thank you so much for listening and getting curious with us.